Hi, this is Irving Steele, the host of Local Issues, and today we have two special guests to tell us about the local issue they were facing as they were trying to pursue their passion in education, in particular interest with robotics, and all of the challenges that they faced as they were trying to pursue their education and the brick walls that were placed in between their passion and education. So Malik, Ronan, great to have you here with us today.
Nice to be here.
So tell us, what happened this last year? Ronan, you were already on the robotics team. You're a graduating senior at Ledyard High School, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then your younger brother, Malik, was saying, hey, he wants to be like his big brother, follow the passion of robotics, and join the club.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened?
Well, I show up for the first day, and then I show up in the building, then I ask where the robotics is meeting, and they realize that I'm not from there, and then they basically kick me out, and I couldn't join.
What do you mean you're not from there? You both live at the same home.
Yeah. I go to marine science, the school in Groton, and so since I'm not a student at Ledyard High School, they said I couldn't join.
So since you were a magnet school student, they said you weren't able to join the club after school.
Yeah, even though I play tennis for Ledyard, but...
So you play tennis on the Ledyard High School tennis team?
Yeah.
And that's fine?
Yeah.
But then if you wanted to pursue a passion of learning robotics, they said that wasn't okay?
Yeah.
What was your reaction to that?
At first I was I thought it was just ridiculous because, you look at the situation, you're just really? That's how it works? But, there's just a lot of board policies that don't really benefit myself because they say I can't join, which is interesting, I think. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So what was your reaction after that, after you found out that you weren't able to join the team? Did you just kind of accept this and you said, okay, I'm going to let this go, or you were passionate enough you wanted to pursue this and find a way to make it happen?
Yeah, so me and my family started to petition the board where we went to meetings.
Board of Education meetings.
Board of Education meetings, yeah. And we've got a lot of support from our local community, which is nice. And a lot of different speakers from the robotics team other than my brother were also speaking. And
because it's not the biggest of teams, right? How many people are on the team?
This year we have about 10 people on the team, 5 of them being seniors, so next year we're looking at 5 kids on the team plus any new members we can maybe get.
So it's kind of a team that's hoping that new people join and you grow the numbers, not kick people off.
You really need more people.
Really need more people. So then, Malik, you're going and you start to petition the board. Can you walk us through that process? What was that like? That was your first time doing that, I imagine.
Yeah, it was... Okay, my perspective going into it was they're here to help because you learn in school that they work for you and they're elected officials and they work for the people. But the more you get into it, the less it's like that. It's more just you can just tell that they don't want to make change, at least in my case particularly. It was like a sad reality check because it was dang, these local politicians really just don't want to make change for the better, because I think our issue is definitely for the better, but I don't know. It wasn't very nice, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty eye-opening, it sounds.
Yeah. It was dang, these guys really are not here to help. Which is okay.
Mm-hmm. And was there a specific policy that was kind of getting in the way of you joining the team? Do you know much about that?
There is a policy, but I can't remember the exact number. Do you?
No, but at first when we were reading it, it was actually somewhat unclear about, it didn't say clearly that he wasn't allowed to join the robotics team, and we just assumed that since he's allowed to be on the tennis team, robotics is almost a sport. Some people would consider it a sport.
Mm-hmm. Lots of teamwork for sure.
And it's competitive, and we go to competitions, we compete against other schools, so we assumed, and the mentors on the team also assumed that he'd be allowed to join.
Mm-hmm.
So
What is it? Like with that, it was like ambiguous with the wording for the policy, but then they like changed that in one of the meetings to make it like pretty clear that I wasn't allowed on. But then like they're still like reviewing it with like a special committee or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I mean, you never know, but I don't know. I hope they like really like come to a realization that they're being kind of ridiculous. At least there's some select board members that are being ridiculous. Some are like for it, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like you have this passion, you want to learn, you want to compete, make an impact with robotics, especially a field where we have electric boat nearby and there's probably a lot of opportunity to do robotics there in the future for career, for job. And isn't there a connection to NASA with your mentor?
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
so, the alumni from our team have gone on to do really cool things. One of them is working at NASA JPL on the drivetrain for the lunar rover.
Pretty sick.
Yeah.
That's like, what's it called? Didn't you want to do something with that?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So it's cool. I mean, you have these big dreams and aspirations of where you can take your passion for robotics. And as you're kind of going in, can you tell us a little bit more what it was like for reaching out to the community? You said you got a lot of support. You helped to get some petition going. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How was that?
So we have like a Google form petition thing. We're just like asking for support. And do you know the exact numbers? There's like 300 something now.
300, probably close to 400.
Yeah.
Almost 400 people signed the petition.
Of just the local
Just
ledger
got
residents.
more who aren't ledger
Yeah.
residents.
How did you guys get so many people to sign this petition? That's amazing.
What was it? A lot of like social media petitioning. I think it was a lot.
Mhm.
Posting on the town's Facebook and different like Facebook pages in our town, and a lot of people, almost every person that's seen it has been supportive, and we've received lots of like positive comments, people signing our petition, at random people that we've never met before too come to our meetings and come to support us.
That must feel pretty
Speak
nice.
On behalf of us.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Mm-hmm. And then do you try and send it to different classmates and friends and family, get
Yeah.
them to sign it too?
I've had a few of my classmates sign it, but sadly they don't live in Ledyard, so it's like has a little bit less of an impact on the petition.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wondered, to your point, I wonder if this is more than just a Ledyard issue. That sure, maybe you guys are living in Ledyard and you are in the magnet school trying to go there, but there's been stories of people in Preston and other places that they want to participate in the school extracurricular activities in those towns. Do you hear of any of those stories from other kids?
I think I've heard of some stories, and like even like homeschooled kids as well. I think it'd be great. It'd be a one step further if we could make opportunities available to students, not just in Ledyard, obviously where it's easy to do so and not at costs or to the Ledyard public schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially thinking coming out of COVID-19 and all the things with the pandemic, having a chance to interact on a team together is so vital right now.
Yeah. It's, what's it called? I mean, I get to at least experience that, because funny thing is, like, a lot of the people on robotics, what's it called, play tennis too. Like, do you know, like, it's like crazy how many people. I don't know. Why do you guys do that?
I don't know.
It's like a lot of tennis players that also do robotics. So I know like a lot of the people on the robotics team, and I still get to interact with them and stuff, but it would definitely be much better to do something that I would like to like learn about. But the Ledyard Board of Ed is really fighting back for no reason, in my opinion. But
And did you guys ever go to any of these Board of Education meetings?
yeah,
We've gone to
tons.
several.
Yeah.
We've spoken at several.
Yeah, you actually spoke at the meetings too.
Yeah.
What did you guys try and say? What was the response? How did that go?
Well, certain times we've tried to point out their BS in some of their arguments. Like one board member was talking about how having out-of-school kids on our sports teams actually puts our sports teams at a disadvantage, which I had to call out. And then also it's just been trying to make different arguments in favor of our issue, trying to like maybe change a mind, even though it's really hard. So I pointed out that these board members, they're elected not by the parents of the students or anything like that. They're elected by ledgered residents. And the way representative democracy should work is the elected members serve the people that elect them, their constituents. And their constituents aren't just the students at Ledyard. They're all of the Ledyard residents, which includes kids who choose to get their education at a different school.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they do have an obligation to serve or to enhance the education of all the students in Ledyard, not just the ones who go to Ledyard public schools.
And especially if the opportunities exist, that the club is there. It's hard to start a robotics club.
Yeah.
But you already have the club there. You have all the materials. I mean, one thing I thought is a lot of people said that maybe the logistics is hard for you to get from your school back in time, but you're able to make it for tennis and tennis practice. So
Yeah.
getting there to make it for the meeting's not an issue.
I also get out earlier than them too.
The way that their schedule was designed at that school was designed in a way to allow the students to leave school and get back to their hometown school in time for sports and activities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, talking about marine science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marine science.
Are there other classmates at marine science at the magnet school who participate in activities back in their hometowns?
Yeah. There's like, because Fitch actually allows their people from marine science to join the robotics team. I know.
So in Groton, it's fine.
Yeah, several.
Right
people.
next to Ledyard.
Yeah. There's like several people that I know that do what's it called, robotics at Fitch, because they live in Groton.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm not allowed because I don't live in Groton, which is much more reasonable than what Ledyard is doing. So I think even then there's like a precedence of having teams allow people that live in their town to go to the team, even though they don't go to like the town school. But Ledyard just doesn't want to do that, which is quite annoying.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the representative democracy, have you had classes at...
Yeah, at Ledyard High School, they teach us about that. In sophomore year civics class, we learn about all this stuff. We even have a civics in action project where we're supposed to try to use the legislative process to create change in our community. And the Board of Ed does not exemplify what we learned in civics class.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is? Do you have any guesses? What's really going on here?
I think they probably just don't like kids leaving their town for other schools.
So they're upset that Malik went to the magnet school, in essence.
Because, well, he does take some state funding, I believe, from the school district. It's also one less student that they have to teach. And it really should not be they should not be punishing students who make their own educational decision on what school to go to, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Board of Education preaches like being for the community and and like wanting to help the community. I think they use that exact like terminology in their like statements where they say like on their websites they say like the community, and it's it's very apparent like through this process that they don't. That's more about like they want funding. They don't really want to change. They don't have an attitude toward change. I think it's like it'd be much more reasonable for them to like have gone in with like an open mindset and try to like figure out the problems, because I'm sure there will most likely be problems if they decide to go through with it. But if they went in with the mindset of wanting to make change, wanting to like figure out and fix the issues to allow other students to come and go onto the robotics team instead of just saying no from the start, it'd be much more representative of what, you know, like my brother is learning in class, and so I learned also in my classes. But they just don't really seem to want change, which is very, it's very, what's it called?
It's frustrating.
Yeah, that's
it's very frustrating. I mean, I feel like almost part of this is you guys are seeing a great lesson in representative democracy and how local systems work, but then also there's a lot of learning in kind of human psychology of these people have made up their minds, it feels like, and even if you two and 400 members of constituents and voters say that this is a better way, they're stuck in their way. They don't want to make an improvement.
Yeah. Well, really, this change, allowing more students allowing more students to join the robotics team or other certain clubs at Ledyard High School, they should, all the board members should be in favor of this idea of enhancing the educational opportunities of the students in their town. However, it just really seems like for certain board members, they were against this idea from the get-go. Not just because they looked into it and they noticed that there might be some challenges associated with it. It just seemed like they're really just against this idea of giving them more opportunities.
Why do you think that is?
Like I said before, I think they just don't like the students who leave their town to go to a different school.
So maybe there's something connected to the economic side of some of the money from the state funding is going to the magnet school instead of staying in Ledyard.
Even though like the money given from the state is supposed to support like my education, so when I go to a different school, it makes sense that funding would follow me, which I think makes a lot of sense. But
also, it's a reflection on the school system itself. When a student decides to leave that school system, it's not like it's clearly they thought that another school would be better for them.
Mm-hmm. For whatever reason that might be.
Yeah.
Right. And he did do his 8th grade at Ledyard Middle School in the Ledyard public school system and did not like it, so he decided to go to a different school, and he should not be punished by the board for that decision when it was partly to do with how he didn't enjoy the Ledyard public school system.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know.
And also research in the region shows that Ledyard Public Schools, for better or worse, is spending probably the least amount per student compared to all the schools around it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that might be indicative of some things that are going on. But in terms of the magnet schools, I'm curious if you guys, throughout this whole process, did you look into the research of how and why magnet schools started?
Oh, yeah. So, like, the purpose of magnet schools was to help, like, underprivileged communities have access to good education where, like underprivileged and underserved communities. So it's like, what's it called? So they're there for, like, minorities and stuff like that, I think. I think that's pretty close to what it's about.
Mm-hmm. So it's trying to create different opportunities, educational opportunities throughout the state and throughout the region. And it seems like you're taking advantage of that, but then, like you said, you're getting punished for making that choice. And when you went to the Board of Education meetings, you presented the ideas, you talked to them, and did you give up right away, or what happened there?
No. Although, even though they clearly wanted us to give up, we kept going to board meetings and kept getting more and more support. And so, although they were they just were trying to drag it out as long as possible, and they still are. We have got them to. They started a special committee that's supposed to investigate this issue, which that's how far we are now. When really this could have been done in 1 or 2 board meetings.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a lesson too for you all and for our viewers as well, just in terms of persistence, that similar on the tennis court, maybe you go down 3 sets or 2 sets and you get into a tiebreaker and you still need to work hard and there's still a chance of winning.
Yeah.
And I feel it was so easy after you guys had that first reaction from the board members just to give up. But you guys didn't give up. If anything, you guys had more energy to go after and get more petition signatures, is what it seems like.
And really, the board's actions have also just angered many people, which just put fuel in the fire and kept us going.
And one person I know that it's sort of angered is also a local journalist, Mike DeMauro at The Day.
Yeah.
Have you guys been able to meet and talk with any journalists about this?
Yeah. So we were able to, us and other members on the robotics team were able to meet with him and talk about it too. And he's written some good stuff supporting our issue.
So he's even written stuff, and do you know about what happened after that? Any response from members of the Board of Education? Did it help move the dial at all?
Not really. They're very fixed on their ideas, and they're not very open-minded people. Not to be rude or anything, because they also accuse us of like slander on social media or something like that, which is ridiculous. Because it was like they said like my mom was like being like rude to them or something. It was like, okay, my mom is like a really nice person. Come on, but the attitude from like the very first meeting to now has been like a drastic. It's been like bad the whole time, but it's also been like a change, because you could tell like at the start they're like, oh, take your 3 minutes. Oh, that's okay. I forgot to start timing, and you can take a little bit longer. But now they're like very strict and stuff like that. They're like, oh, you're like a minute late. You can't sign up. You can't. What's it called? You can't speak.
Even if you're just a minute late.
Yeah, it feels like we had like some connection issues one time because it was an online meeting, and then like the lady was trying to not let my mother speak and myself speak, and it's like you can tell they're definitely trying to silence us, which is very disheartening, because it's like it's one of our like amendments, right? It's like one of our rights as like an American citizen, supposed to be able to speak out to your government, to criticize issues, and they're trying to stop that. But it's just very, very frustrating.
You think that'd be things you'd be hearing in dictator countries, not in United States of America, the foundation of democracy here.
Land of the free, they say. But
very surprising. And also in the latest ad hoc committee, after Mike DeMar wrote that one article, I think one of the Board of Education members went after him and started attacking him and saying he's writing this false information and misinformation. And I kind of wonder, what is the real goal? What's really going on there to even attack journalists as well?
I know. They have dug in and refuse to lose their closed-mindedness, and it's just really disheartening.
And Malik, what's the response been at the magnet school? I'm sure they know about some of this.
Yeah, there's like a few of my teachers signed my petition, and they were like,
well, they even signed the petition too.
Yeah, and my friends signed it, and they're all just like I just tell them about the issue, and then there's like it's like an immediate reaction. They're like, okay, why aren't you allowed onto the team? Like, if this makes sense, this seems like a good thing. Like you start like looking at like the benefits versus like the negatives, and it's just like, what are they really doing here? Because they need members. I'm a person that wants to do it, but they're stopping me from doing it. The Ledger Robotics team doesn't really use any funding from the school. They just use like the facilities, but they don't even take the space.
They give us a closet to store our stuff in, and we get to use the metal shop during our build season too.
Yeah, the library. That's it.
And we get to, occasionally use the library when it's not in use.
Oh, yeah, and sometimes you eat lunch in the wood shop. Come on.
And you have an amazing mentor there too from Electric Boat, don't you?
We have lots of amazing mentors now from Electric Boat. I think we've got 3 mentors from Electric Boat now,
Mm-hmm.
and 1 mentor that's working with a new technology with fiber optics and computing, I think. Really cool. I still barely understand it.
That's awesome. And one of the cool things too, just this last week, your mom and I were able to see Congressman Joe Courtney, and he said his children also attended magnet school, so he really could understand some of the intricacies of this issue.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he is a huge supporter of General Dynamics Electric Boat, that he helps us to get many large submarine contracts here.
Yeah.
So thinking that this could be a pathway for education down the road for you all.
Right. Yeah. I know through the robotics team, I know many students have gone to work at EB, or many alumni have gone to work at EB or interned there. I know one is interning there this summer. He's a sophomore in college right now. And yeah, it's really cool.
It's like just good to have robotics on your resume, because it's like the best. It's like one of the best STEM extracurriculars. It's like you can like the statistics of like the robotics organization, like alumni versus like someone that just didn't do it. It's like astounding how just like the personal benefits that I could gain, and like also like other people that want to join. It's, I don't know. It's very.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
And robotics teams, the teams aren't just meant to compete with robots. They're also meant to have an impact on their community. And so what many teams will do is they'll start Lego robotics teams for little kids, or they'll do different community outreach programs and have summer camps for kids and stuff. And that's just another great way that we could have a positive impact on our community. But with 10 members going down to maybe 5 next year, we just do not have the capability to do all that on top of design and build and program a robot each year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes like some teams, like Aranda's team has like so many people. They have like a whole like social media team and like business team, and like the Ledger Robotics team just doesn't have the capacity to do that. It's like it's very bare bones, I would say, because it's just so little people. It's just you got build team, and you have people programming, and like what is it, Brady doing some like cold emails. That's pretty much it. And like I wish I could help, but not allowed. So.
Great. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time today to share this local issue. I admire your persistence, your perseverance, but also your passion for your learning, for education, and robotics, and this as well. So I want to say keep going, that where there's a will, there's a way, and I hope that Education will listen to you all and provide opportunities. So thanks for being